What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished their Week 10 matchup in the 2024 NFL season, going to Washington, playing the red-hot Washington Commanders. If I call them the Redskins at some point in this review, I apologize, it's not intentional. I always call teams by their old names. I'm old school. So Steelers played the Commanders. Commanders coming in red hot. Jaden Daniels playing way better than expected. He's been the breakout rookie of the year at quarterback, using Terry McLaurin. The Hail Mary play a few weeks back by Noah Brown. This team has got a good running game, even though their starting running back Brian Robinson was out. They had Austin Eckler. They got McLaurin. They got a bunch of players that are solid. Jaden Daniels leading this team with a lot of energy and excitement for the city. Marshawn Lattimore getting traded over there coming into this game. Pittsburgh coming in at 6-2 off their bye week, getting back several players, including Zach Frazier at center, getting back Cam Sutton off an 8-game suspension, the slot corner, trading for Preston Smith and Mike Williams, who both had impact today. We'll talk about them. Two of the hottest teams coming in, Pittsburgh at 6-2, Washington at 7-2, as one of the best teams in the NFL this year. Really hot game. This one felt like a nip and tuck game, back and forth. A few key mistakes on both sides, a few key penalties on both sides. One of those games where every play mattered. Tons of Washington fans in the stands, tons of traveling Steelers in the stands with the terrible towels. Loud crowd, exciting, physical game, lots of back and forth, down to the wire. One of the Game of the Year candidates so far in the NFL. This one definitely for the Steelers. Pittsburgh comes out with the 28-27 victory, a 1-point win, beating one of the NFL's top young teams on the road. This is a quality win for a team coming in with the hardest remaining NFL schedule in the second half of the season. Big quality win on the road here. You can't be upset about that. That being said, Russell Wilson, his worst game so far as a Steeler, coming off two hot 400-plus yard offensive performances. Russell had a pretty off game, inconsistent at least. Some of the play calling was a little questionable, some of the flags. A lot of stuff to get into as far as breakdowns go. Offensively, I will say we definitely didn't get the kind of running lanes we usually get in this game. Jaylen Warren providing a spark, Najee getting a couple of solid runs, but the running numbers not jumping off the page. Definitely not Najee's favorite today. A lot of just Russell Wilson taking deep shots, which we like to see the offense getting opened up, but a lot of those deep shots were uncatchable balls. A lot of stuff to Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. Like both those guys, glad they're getting more involved, but it was a lot of like double team and safety help plays where they were just chucking it deep to guys that weren't in position to catch the ball. Pickens made the most of his opportunities, but the other guys weren't getting open downfield. Seemed to me like a lot of the plays, the line didn't help. The offensive line, I give a plus/minus today. The line was allowing pressure. A lot of the pressure this time was up the middle instead of around the edges like it usually is. The edge guys seemed to hold their own for the most part. Frankie Louvu getting a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson, but a lot of times it seemed like Russell Wilson had the chance to get rid of the ball. It seemed like Russell was holding on to the ball a little too much. Had the chance to at least throw it away, was taking some shots that he shouldn't have taken, which did lead to an interception, taking a one-on-two play where Pickens down the field overshot the guy and the safety came over and got the interception. So bad pass by Russell there. Russell missed the tight end, the fourth-string tight end, Michael Pruitt, across the middle of the field, threw it behind him. Couple of plays to Calvin Austin, the ball was just too far out in front of him. So Russell wasn't his sharpest today in decision-making or his accuracy. That being said, still came out with a 3-touchdown game and still put us in the position to win the game and made the game-winning throw when it counted. So up and down for Russell today. Offensively, that was pretty much the score. The line didn't play great, but had good enough moments. Russell was getting pressure, but didn't get rid of the ball soon enough. Defensively, again, made some big plays, got off the field at big times, got some pressure without getting a ton of sacks, but had a hard time covering the Commanders' receivers. Terry McLaurin goes off for over 100. Probably should have had more. JPJ really had a hard time covering the slants. Same thing across the other side with Dante Jackson. He had a hard time covering Noah Brown on the slants. It seemed even Cam Sutton covering in the slot. Luke McCaffrey had one deep. The middle of the field, which I've been talking about all season, was a big problem for us, covering that middle of the field. We allowed Zach Ertz with at least 3 open catches. Noah Brown had at least 2, and McCaffrey had at least 1. That being said, the Commanders helped us out a lot today by dropping a lot of passes in the middle of the field. Zach Ertz dropped one. Zach Ertz caught another one on a fourth down, needing an extra half yard and didn't get it. Came back to the ball and was a half yard short. Noah Brown dropped one. I think Alameda Zacchaeus dropped one. And then De'Ami Brown, the small slot receiver, dropped a wide open one in the end zone. Beanie Bishop got beat for a touchdown, in which was dropped by De'Ami Brown, wide open in the back of the end zone. So Commanders dropping at least 4 balls. Could have had 4 more massive plays on us, but had a bunch as it is. Let me get to the stats and I'll talk about the breakdowns exactly. Russell Wilson today, 15 of 29, so just over 50%, by far his lowest of the season. 15 of 29, 199 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the 1 bad interception. The touchdowns were beautiful. The pick was not. Getting to the run game real quick, Najee Harris, I think only 2.5 yards a carry in this game, his lowest in a long, long time. His hot streak is now over. Still had some nice hard runs, broke a lot of tackles, ran hard, but didn't get the kind of openings in lanes that the line's been giving him, which is crazy because we had Zach Frazier back today. So we would have thought we would have done a little better running the ball, but Washington's defense was getting a lot of pressure, both in passing and in the rushing lanes. Najee, 21 carries, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Nice touchdown, but yes, his 2.5 yards per carry ends his hot streak. Jaylen Warren came in with a nice burst, 14 carries for 66 yards. Some really nice stuff when Najee went down, but he did have a fumble as well, though. Jaylen Warren added 29 yards receiving, so 66 rushing, 29 receiving. Really had a beautiful drive. When Najee got hurt for one drive and went out, Jaylen Warren came in, made some really nice runs, extending the drive, getting us down to the 1 yard line, fighting for a first down, getting down inside the 1, extending for a touchdown, got stripped, and the Redskins recovered the Commanders recovered the ball. Told you I was going to do it. So Warren with a costly fumble there. So both guys had their struggles running the ball today. George Pickens, the leader, receiving by far, 6 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown was a beautiful catch that was over his head and behind him. He had an over route where he had to come back, look back for the ball, catch it on the opposite side of the shoulder he was going toward, caught the ball fading back, and held on in the end zone. Beautiful touchdown catch. Also caught a 30-yarder down the sidelines one-on-one like he does every single week, catching the ball over the shoulder, dragging the toes. Beautiful stuff. 2 spectacular catches from George Pickens. When Russell Wilson was on with him, the connection was there. He is really Russell Wilson. If of all the things that he's added to this offense, that George Pickens' explosiveness and big playability, he has unlocked that completely. I love what Pickens is doing with Russell Wilson. Mike Williams only has 1 catch today on 1 target, but it makes him the second leading receiver of the day. Mike Williams comes in, only played about 4 or 5 plays today, was mostly a decoy, didn't do much, but the one play, it was a third down when Pittsburgh was 35 yards away, would have had to have gone for a field goal or gone for the 4th down to put us up by only, I'm forgetting what the score was at the time in the game, but Pittsburgh would have had to go for a field goal or go for it on 4th down and be in a winning or losing situation there. But Mike Williams goes on a streak, gets himself open by 2 steps on the outside defender, catches the ball perfectly thrown over the shoulder. Good location, good air under the ball. Russell Wilson to Mike Williams. So already that trade is paying dividends. Didn't know if Mike Williams was going to get much playing time in this game. Like I said, only 4 or 5 plays that I saw, but on his only target, gets a 31 or 33 yard touchdown in the 4th quarter to go ahead and put Pittsburgh up for the lead, which went on to be the final score. So Mike Williams paying dividends already. Pat Freiermuth also with a nice touchdown on a release play, gets open, gets the ball out in front of him, catches for the touchdown. He had 3 catches today. Good to see him getting a few more targets. Still not quite enough production, but he's making the plays count when he gets the opportunities to. So Freiermuth, Mike Williams, and Pickens get the touchdowns. Offensive line, like I said, plus/minus. Good to see Zach Frazier back. Some nice lanes for Jaylen Warren in spite of the fumble. Najee didn't get nearly as many opportunities. The pressure on Wilson, he was sacked 3 times, but I think 2 of those sacks were Russell Wilson's fault more so than the line. Too much pressure, but Russell was kind of panicking a little bit. He was holding on to the ball at the wrong times, and then sometimes he would scramble out of the pocket too soon and just chuck it downfield. And in most cases, I would say do that. But the plays that were chucked downfield were not to a one-on-one Calvin Austin or an open George Pickens. They were to a one-on-two Calvin Austin or Van Jefferson. So those plays didn't work out so much. Defensively, Patrick Queen was on point today. Big game for Patrick Queen. Led the team with 6 tackles. Was making really clean gap shots. was shooting that B gap, had a really nice play on the running back, 2 tackles for a loss in the running game today, was stopping guys short on third downs, was doing the chase and tackle thing very well. His tackles were crisp. He was hitting in the right spots. He was getting through clean, was not even having to battle blockers, just really doing a nice job getting in there today. So Patrick Queen, big positive. 3 sacks today for the Steelers, 2 for Cam Hayward. Big game ball to Cam Hayward today. 2 beautiful sacks to put the Commanders in second and third and longs. Also a batted ball on the line of scrimmage. Keanu Benton also gets a batted ball. This Pittsburgh Steelers D-line bats balls better than anyone. TJ Watt does it normally a lot. Cam won today. Keanu Benton won today. Excellent batted balls there. The other sack is Preston Smith. He gets in for 3 tackles today. 2 big ones, one on third down, and then a big sack to put Commanders back in the fourth quarter when they're going up trying to get in field goal range. So Preston Smith already, after a trade for a 7th round pick, comes in with a sack and 3 tackles in his first game as a Steeler, especially considering Highsmith went out. Looked like he might have rolled his ankle, if not broken his ankle. I don't think it was broken, but it looked really bad. Highsmith was coming in on a nice pressure, had a solid game with pressures, no big stats on the stat line, but several good pressures for Highsmith. Came in on one where he hit Jaden Daniels, and he nailed his foot off Jaden Daniels' ankle and rolled his own ankle. Really nasty play. Might be a break. We'll see what happens there. I hope we're not losing him for any big amount of time. But Preston Smith comes in with several injuries to the outside linebackers, and that's why we traded for him, and he made the plays count. I'm going to give minuses to 4 guys here big time. JPJ, Joey Porter Jr. struggled big time today with McLaurin. McLaurin over 100 yards. Porter had no less than 3 penalties on top of the 100 yards allowed. Followed McLaurin around and allowed about 6 plays to McLaurin. A couple were in tight coverage. A couple were wide open. Couldn't play the slant very well. Wasn't doing a great job there. Did have several penalties. One, I think, being a face mask. 2 or 3 being a holding penalty. So really struggling today for JPJ. Dante Jackson, he didn't have many glaring plays, but allowed 2 slant plays to Noah Brown for big gains, and I think missed a tackle in the middle of the field to Zach Ertz, and then got hurt. And then when he got hurt, James Pierre came in. James Pierre, I'm going to go quick on this because Pierre called me out a couple years ago when I said Pierre couldn't be a full-time starting corner. He called me out on Twitter and said, "Bet, watch what I can do." And I said, "I'm cheering for you, but you're not showing me much right now." And he didn't like that very much. Went on then for 2 years to show me nothing and get cut by the Steelers, or not cut, but not re-signed when his contract was up. Went somewhere else, didn't do well there, sat in free agency. Pittsburgh re-signed him back for special teams. Special teams-wise, he usually is a pretty effective player. I like his game on special teams. As a cornerback, he cannot play for shit. He should not be on the field as a corner ever. Put me, a disabled person that needs spine surgery and has had 12 surgeries, on the field before James Pierre covering anybody as a cornerback. He is not good. Shouldn't be on the field in that capacity at all. I don't see why we didn't bump Cam Sutton back outside and put Beanie Bishop in there, who had a couple nice blitzes today. He reads screens and blitzes well. Beanie Bishop should have played the 3. Cam should have played the 2 at that point. Putting Pierre back out there, he allowed a big play downfield. I think it was to Noah Brown in the fourth quarter. Also, on special teams, I was going to talk about this later. We'll do it now. Special teams, they went for a fake on 4th down at their own 10-yard line. Went for a ballsy fake. Danny Smith is feeling himself after the last couple weeks. They went for a Miles Killebrew to James Pierre pass. The design was perfect. The call was questionable at best. The field position was a very, very much do not do this, but they went for the play. James Pierre lined up unopposed on his side, went down, was wide open, would have had the first down and probably 50 more yards if not the touchdown. Was wide open, tried to run downfield before he caught the ball, overran the pass, had to come back to it and dropped it, which cost us the first down and gave the Commanders a 1st and 10 on the 10-yard line, which they went on to score, so giving points away because of that. So Pierre, with a drop ball on special teams and a bad play, playing starting corner in the fourth quarter, I don't like him being on this team. He does add value on special teams, but big minus for him today for sure. Also want to give Cam Sutton a minus today. A couple of bad plays in the middle of the field. Allowed 2. I want to say 1 was Noah Brown. 1 might have been Zacchaeus. I think one was a big drop. I think Zacchaeus had like what would have been a 15-yard gain, if not a 50-yard gain, because he was unopposed. The linebackers floated up. Cam missed a play. Also allowed a few plays today. But he did make one really nice play on defense, so I'll give him that. Also, James Pierre made one nice play on defense. The ball was drastically underthrown. Pierre got beat in the fourth quarter when they were trying to go get a game-winning field goal. Pierre gets beat by a stutter move, slips down, and falls behind the play. Jaden Daniels drastically underthrew the ball, which allowed Pierre to catch up and get the breakup. So Pierre does get a nice breakup there, but had gotten beaten. If the ball was out in front of him where it should have been, it would have been one-on-one with Minka for the touchdown. So some really bad plays. So JPJ, Jackson, Cam, and Pierre are all getting negatives for me, but good to see Cam back, and I hope he's going to add a lot to our pass defense going forward. That being said, if Dante Jackson misses any real time, make sure JPJ is with Cam on the outside and put Bishop back on the inside. Pierre can't play corner full time. Special teams wise, I already went over the negative with that one play. Boswell did not kick any field goals today, just 4 extra points, 4 for 4, so positive for Boswell. Corliss Waitman, 5 punts, 212 yards. That is a 42.4 yards per punt average. 3 of those 5 punts inside the 20. Had one that was kind of meh. Had a little bit of a short punt with a bad bounce. All the other ones were good. So overall positive for Waitman today as well. Also, a special teams positive play that made up for the negative one. I think it was Alamanade Zacchaeus, I believe. I think it was Zacchaeus. Bobbled the ball, was his second bobble of the day. Ben Skoranek was down there going to get in his face and recover the ball. So Ben Skoranek, fresh off the IR, gets the fumble recovery, putting us in good field position where Russell Wilson then goes down, gets the touchdown, and makes up for the touchdown we gave away earlier in the game. So all those things being said, a lot of holes still on defense, still allowing way too many plays in the middle of the field. Offensively, still too many penalties. Defensively, too many penalties. Some play calling with Russ today was a little but mostly it was giving Russ more time. The offensive line still a bit shaky. Russ taking a few shots too many in this game cost him. But that being said, still 3 touchdown passes and a touchdown run, a 28-point Steelers offensive output, and the defensive sacks and pressure in the fourth quarter when they were necessary, getting the Commanders off the field. And Pittsburgh goes on 4th down. Tomlin stays out there on 4th down, draws the Commanders off sides to advance to a 1st down and get Pittsburgh off the field. Pittsburgh now, like I said, gets a win, winds up with a win on the road against a 6-2 team who's one of the best records in the league. Pittsburgh now goes to 7-2, feeling real good about themselves. We are now 3-0 in the Russell Wilson era, and in spite of having Russ's worst game by far, we still get 28 points on offense. We're feeling pretty good at 7-2. We are first in the division, and we are heading into our divisional games pretty soon here. So what do you think of this game? Tell me in the comments down below. Who stood out to you positively and negatively? What did you think of this game? Please like, share, and subscribe. These Pittsburgh Steelers deep dives while I bring you guys these games every single week. Weekly Steeler reviews, weekly movie reviews. I will see you guys real soon. Go Steelers, Pittsburgh Nation. Let's ride.